Thank you for that splendid introduction. Just a little bit about me is that I teach English at one college, CLC, and I teach humanities at Harper. So that's it in a nutshell. Our theme this time is masks, and I have to admit that I wear a mask every day because I don't enjoy technology. And I can't tell anybody this because the administrators at my schools and my students would think I'm old if they knew this about me. Fact is that I remember in my childhood when a telephone was a box on the wall. And it stayed put, that's for sure. But you didn't lose your communications. You didn't get it stolen, along with all your pertinent information. And you just dialed. It was so nice. I remember my phone number. Hilltop 51441. That goes back about, well, we'll say a few decades. And when you wanted to watch TV, all you had to do was turn a dial. It was great. So you can imagine my frustration when I went to a little bakery in Fort Lauderdale wanting a simple blueberry muffin. So I went in, it was crowded, I took a ticket, I drank quite a bit of their coffee, and I talked to the girl behind the counter. She said, "What do you want?" And I said, "Just one blueberry muffin." And she said, "Well, did you order it?" And I said, "Well, no." She said, "Well, we don't bake here on the premises, so you're going to have to order it online." So she gave me their address, and then she told me of all the screens that I would have to go through. First, you go to the screen that has their menu. It lists all their products. Then, after you do that, you go to the list of muffins, and there's all kinds of muffins: bran muffins, orange muffins, blueberry muffins, cranberry muffins, corn muffins, every kind of muffin you could ever imagine. So once you pick out your muffin, then you have to go to another screen and pick out if you want gluten-free, sugar-free, rice flour, wheat flour, corn flour, and then, last but not least, small, medium, or large. So I just looked at her and I said, I don't have a smartphone." She gave me a very sour look. I said, "In the meantime, while I'm thinking this over, could you please tell me where the bathroom is?" So she pointed to the bathroom, and I saw it had a keypad on it. She said, "Well, you'll need the code. Is it 1 or 2?
Oh my God.
I said, 1, I think. She said, "Well, then your code is 1-DO-DO. And don't forget to enter your date of birth." So I went to the keypad and I pressed all this in. And when I got inside, there was a little black box by the John, and it was pulsing and saying, "Enter code, enter code." So I thought, well, I guess it's the same code I did before, but time now was running out. So I entered it, and then we got another flashing sign. $1. So I fished around in my purse, and I got out $1. Luckily, I had one. And 5 little squares of toilet paper came out. Okay. So I finished up, I washed my hands, I went over to one of those newfangled dryers where you go in and put your hands out like Frankenstein. And you put them in there, and I guess they kill germs, but they are really loud. Quite a noise pollutant, in my opinion. So I'm standing there with my hands in the dryer and I'm looking up at the wallpaper and I see a little light go off. Just a little tiny pinpoint of light. I think, are they taking my picture? So when I get outside, I ask the girl, were you taking my picture? She said, yes. I said, why? For security. Okay. So I thought more about the blueberry muffin that I wanted, and I saw 4 in the case. And I said, well, can I have one of those muffins? She said, no, we have a new baker and there's a problem. Actually, the other girls and I are going to eat them at our break. I looked around and I saw 3 other girls wandering around. They all looked so alike. They had their hair back like so, good in a bakery. And they had beautiful skin and makeup that looked like they'd been professionally applied. And she said, they couldn't share them with me. And then I spotted another solitary muffin on the back counter. I said, well, what about that guy? Couldn't I have that? She said, well, I told you we had a problem with our baker. I said, what problem? A bloody nose. Do you still want it? I said, yeah, I'll cut the top off. So she said, that'll be $2.50, please. So I went in my purse again to get out some money. And she said, oh no, we only take credit cards. So I dug out my credit card, I put it in a little machine, and sure enough, it wanted my library card, my license, my blood type, my mother's maiden name, and my home address, and my measurements. So I got all of this done for one little stinking muffin. She put it in a white bag, she handed it to me, and she said, thank you. Thank you, thank you, and then she came to, and I thought, So I took my muffin, I was eating half of it, the bottom half, of course, and I said to no one in particular, just to keep in shape, isn't technology wonderful?